We're being joined by Mr. Frederick Fleets, who's the Vice Chairman at the America First Policy Institute Center for American Security. He's joining us live on this broadcast. Now, Mr. Fleets, we've just witnessed what the American airstrikes have in fact done in Iraq and Syria. Are we expecting more such strikes by the Americans?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. President Biden has been extremely patient. There were over 160 attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria since October 7th. The U.S. has hit the Houthi rebels at least 12 times with airstrikes. And there was incredible pressure on President Biden to respond more forcefully on these attacks. And these attacks were by Iran-backed Shiite militias. And there are Iranian personnel in Iraq and Syria who are directing these attacks. I hope this massive attack will de-escalate tensions, will convince these militia groups to stop attacking American troops. But we will see over the next couple of days. The rhetoric out of Iran is not promising, but my hope is that this will stop the violence. If not, President Biden has said that there will be more strikes.
Right. It's interesting that you say that this is an attempt by the Americans to de-escalate. But looking in terms of how things are playing out on the ground, you know, the incidents that started off in the Gaza Strip that now have spread to the Red Sea corridor, where international commercial shipping has been very badly affected. Now, there are attacks that we are witnessing in Iraq and Syria as well. Do you think striking these targets will actually put them off, or do you think that will give them more encouragement to carry out strikes against American targets within Iraq and Syria?
Well, I think the purpose here is to establish deterrence. There has not been a sense of Western or American deterrence against these Iran-backed proxies in the Middle East. The responses to their attacks has been fairly minimal. I think that has caused them to grow. And this is an attempt to reestablish deterrence, to make it clear to Iran and its proxies they will pay a price if they engage in these provocations.
But do you think America is getting sucked into, if not a direct confrontation, then at least a confrontation by proxy against these Iran-backed militant factions, both in Iraq and Syria? Is that a real danger that the Americans, even though they don't want a war and don't want to escalate this crisis that is unfolding at this moment in West Asia, are getting sucked into a proxy war of sorts?
Well, I think the U.S. is already involved in a proxy war with Iran's proxy groups in the region. The question is, will this draw the United States into a war with Iran itself? And there are many in Congress, mostly Republican senators, who want the United States to attack Iran, to bomb Iran. I don't think President Biden has any intention of doing that. I don't favor that either, and I'm a critic of Biden. But if we go down that route, there has to be a debate and vote in Congress. I think that's a very serious red line for the United States.
Interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Frederick Fleets, for joining us and getting us that perspective there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.